back to the channel. I apologize for any poor audio quality that you may be experiencing during this video. I forgive the non-flashy entrance, forgive the non-editing, just forgive the severe amount of money I don't have to spend on cams, programs, equipment, soundboards, sound padding, private room. Forgive that I'm not like every other YouTuber that's successful and is making a large sum of cash from YouTube. I'm here to revamp an older video known as Halo versus Warframe. Now, a couple years ago, about two, being a couple, prerogative, I made a video using game clips and using solid evidence on statistics involving the numbers and the weapons. But I never really delved into the characters. Now, as a fan of Halo in general, the books, the mangas, the fan arts, the games, not the TV show, I think we all canonically agree the TV show is dog poop. I want to delve into more descriptive reasons. Focusing on Spartans in general. Spartans can travel 30 miles per hour normally. Canonically, they can sprint for 60 miles per hour in short bursts. This is already discussed in many other YouTube videos across the web. And the main argument that I hear a lot of is not actually Master Chief versus a Warframe, because the argument there is ludicrous. A Warframe would stomp any Spartan out there, no matter what you gave them, from their respective universe. But arguments like, could the Hive Mind beat the Warframes? Could the Didact, the Forerunners, beat the Warframes? Now, looking at the respective history, these are all very powerful factions that have been known for conquering the galaxies. They are very powerful, respect to them, but none of them have kept a grasp on it. This brings us to the lore behind Warframes. Warframes were designed as implements of war, crafted in the void and of infested. These weapons were massively effective at creating and dispatching hostile areas and environments. They were very effective at creating chaos for the enemy lines. The first warframe being Excalibur Prime, or Excalibur Umbra. One of those two. The lore gets very janky. These beings, well, the weapon itself, sorry, I got slightly off track, have the ability to summon spears from the void out of nowhere and impale enemies, blind them, or even cut through almost any object. Now, for the standard enjoyer of Halo who's just coming over to Warframe and are a little bit new, you may not fully understand what I'm getting at. Excalibur Prime, or Excalibur Umbra, or any Warframe, if we talk about the abilities, these abilities have been shown to slice through entire ships. And to the Halo fans who don't understand the ramification of that, it's like using the Hammer of Dawn, I think that's Gears of War, and blasting the UNSC Infinity with it. It's that destructive. Now, could the Didact beat a Warframe? In certain, and I mean very cherry-picked, like perfectly cherry-picked scenarios, could the Didact win? It is a very small possibility. Could the Hive Mind win? Absolutely not. There's no way for the Hive Mind to convert it because the Hive Mind would have to contest with the Infested. And sadly, the Infested are far more dangerous than the Flood of Halo, as the Infested have billions, canonically, of galaxies and solar systems under their belt, and have entire planets, or entire systems, or galaxies that are all one, like one big mesh infested. So, a Grave Mind, Hive Mind, they don't stand a chance. Now, the Didact, this is something that is intelligent, patient, cunning, and instead of flagging his pride or power, he's typically, in his lore, quick to study his enemy. He is a hero, a war veteran of the Halo community. Well, of Halo in general. His past is he was a very pronounced warrior who aged. And I'm not talking about Didact when he fought Chief. I'm talking about Didact in his prime, when he had more common sense about him, more tactic, if you will. The Didact could probably, if he plays his cards right, take out Excalibur, if he plays it properly, because in Halo we have seen Didact tap into energy that was very void-like. But again, this is cherry-picking for Halo. Alright, this needs to be fully understood. I am cherry-picking for Halo. My feelings on the fact is, well, you already know what it is, but it's focusing on the cherry picking here. So he could potentially tap into that void energy, and with enough time, give it years or a couple hundred years, he could possibly make a very poor replication of what the Orokin achieved. Now, no, this is dropping off a lot of lore from Warframe. This is just cutting out all the real important stuff that says this wouldn't happen. This is all cherry-picked. If he could replicate that type of raw energy and somehow funnel it into his weaponry, there is a possibility that he could possibly, again, if we play our cards right, if the Tenno messes up or he somehow gets into the Tenno's head, sever the connection between Warframe and Tenno, leaving the Warframe useless or accessible and the Tenno completely helpless. Now note, the Tenno child is not helpless. They have their own set of powers, but since he harnesses a raw variant of the void, he could kill one Warframe. But to bring it back to reality, the Didact and the Halo community as a whole could not defeat Warframes. And to put in perspective, Spartans can lift an entire Scorpion tank with like 2,000 to 3,000 tons. If I remember correctly. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on the lifting of Spartans. Maybe I'm over buffing them. Or maybe not, I'm nerfing them. It's been a long time since I've done a detailed video like this. They can run up to 60 miles per hour. They are the best of the best, always defying the odds. They've taken on things like the Flood, the Covenant, Hunters, Brutes, themselves. But the question, throwing out all the fan base, all the fanboying, is how would a Spartan fare against a singular opponent who can stomp their ground so hard that it defies the laws of reality, physics, and time, and utterly breaks those aspects, freezing time, breaking the laws of physics and reality, and leaving you completely helpless and vulnerable. How would they fare against that? How would they fare against armor that is capable of taking a planet-destroying blast and being perfectly okay from it? How would they fare against something that can automatically hit every target instantly with pinpoint precision without even moving their head? How could they fare against something that instantly teleports and does not give any consideration for armor and just goes through it like a hot knife through butter? Their odds don't really stack up. If you don't understand the Warframes I'm referencing, Mesa, Rhino, Ash, just the three hardliners. If I want to be truly unfair, how would they fare against something that can wield and unleash at will the power, the full force of a sun? We're not talking about a glassing. We are talking about the unbridled power of a star in the palm of her hands. And not only this, but has the ability to place down orbs that electrocute and heal her for any damage she takes at an exponential rate. They don't stack up. Now, we could talk about the calibers they use. That would be like comparing a Halo sniper rifle round to a Warhammer bolt thrower round. It's two very different things. One actually packs a punch and will blow a hole in a ship, and the other can barely take the hat off a ranger at 1,500 yards. And if anyone doesn't know the Easter egg, I'm referring to June in Halo Reach Nightfall mission, I think. It's been a while since I played Reach. It kind of went downhill. Now, let's take that Warhammer round and compare it to a round that essentially does the same thing, but better. It punches through ships, and it slices through hordes of heavily armored enemies. And it can multiply when fired. To the warframe users, yes, I am referring to multi-shot. A better argument that would actually allow me to have to think would be Warhammer versus Warframe. Because then it's actually a more even playing ground with the same level of aspects. And to explain this, in Halo, the toughest armored enemy you are ever going to face is an elite royal guard or elite counselor. They are the most armored unit, most heavily shielded unit in game. The toughest opponent would most likely be the Didact or the Gravemind. But in Warhammer, they have a lot of Tenno-like aspects with space magic. That actually should be a video. I should make a video about that. Back on point. The point being is, getting back on topic if people haven't seen what I'm trying to get at with the calibers. Because I talked about a bunch of different things while presenting. Grineer are capable of taking multiple rounds that are designed to utterly shred and destroy ships with very minimal effort and go toe-to-toe, even for a split second, against a machine or a sentient, semi-sentient creature that is capable of wiping out a species on a solar level by itself. This is the canonical reason warframes were created. They are exterminators. This is why they were created. It's not what they've become, mind you. They're more of bounty hunters now. But if you've played Warframe, you understand how many fades you run per mission with a sword. A Warframe does not have a top speed. If anyone would like to argue this, I would point out Gauss, Valkyr, Varuna, Wisp, Harrow, Loki, these warframes can traverse thousands of miles in just a few seconds. Now, I'm going to do some rough estimation. Okay, we're going to use Cetus. Cetus is about, let's just say roughly about 5,000 miles wide. If we're looking at a topical graphical map of it. If we're just going to be realistic. I may be wrong on the actual length, but this is an example, so keep your panties in a wad. Just unwad your panties. Sorry, unwad them. And hear me. A warframe can traverse from one point of Cetus to the other in a span of 4, sometimes 4 being one of the faster times, or 30 seconds, with minimal to no effort, by running. Maybe more, maybe a minute. This would mean the warframe is traveling so fast that it is basically breaking the sound barrier with each jump, with each sprint, with even a basic jog, naturally, with no signs of tiring out. So, now this goes back to the point here, how would a Spartan stack up against something that can take a severe, planetary, devastating beam straight to the face, not be phased, can travel so fast that it breaks the sound barrier without breaking a sweat from start off, can kill heavily armored units and vehicles with a sword, just a sword, and has the abilities to break the very laws of physics and reality just by being themselves. These are what Spartans in the Halo franchise is up against in this argument. There's been nothing in Halo that has remotely come close to this. In all reality, Halo is a very loved franchise. It is very shielded and very protected. But it also is home to a majority of the community that has a very large problem understanding things that are being presented against it. This is a revamp on a video that I made 2 years ago, where I was very ecstatic from an argument me and my friend had. And this is a more in-depth comparison, like side by side. Here's what a Spartan can do, here's what a warframe can do. And taking a look at Halo, yes, Spartans are fucking awesome. The whole Halo franchise is amazing. But in a fight against a warframe, warframe has more power, more speed, more capability, more durability, and was designed to do what Spartans can't ever seem to do in the books, which is win. Warframes rarely lose. As in, they rarely lose. And when they do, there are millions of fades that were ran before that warframe finally just bit the dust. A Spartan can be beaten by a brute. Or an elite. Or, of course, our infamous meme lord, I'm going to run at you screaming at the top of my lungs with the blueberries. If you know the reference, you know the reference. Now, I thank anyone who's made it this far into the video. I really do. because I don't do a lot of editing. And thanks to Xbox removing the Creator Studio, I cannot properly edit and clip in my voice to be more crisp. So I thank you for watching. Now, if you're upset because I've stated my facts that I have found and reasonable arguments, I don't apologize at all. This is a comparison, pound for pound, feet for feet wise. I've already done the statistics on a Spartan's health, how much damage they output, how much they shoot, what's their power. This is comparing mainly the focus of what they are capable of in their respective fields. We have a soldier who has struggles taking out an entire ship worth of enemies versus something that wipes out entire planetary systems on a daily basis. Now I have to think about that. I have to actually think about Warhammer versus Warframe, because that actually would be a pretty difficult argument. A lot of pluses on both sides and more scaling. But then again, going into Warhammer is like going into a bag of idiots. Nobody has straight answers. Nobody.